request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or device, there is a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications and public hearings to be recognized to speak. If technical difficulties arise and the Zoom link is interrupted during an in-person hybrid meeting of the City Council and a quorum is present, the meeting may continue after efforts have been made to reestablish the link. The minutes shall note the interruption. It is the finding of the City of Gloucester that no individual should be denied equal treatment or opportunity because of their age, ancestry, color, disability, including intellectual and developmental mental disabilities, family status, immigration status, gender identity or expression, military status, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. This evening we have in attendance Ward 2 Councilor Dylan Benson, Ward 3 Councilor Marjorie Grace, Ward 4 Councilor Francesco Margiotta, Ward 1 Councilor Scott Memard, Councilor at Large Patty Ann Page, Councilor at Large Hannah Kimberly, Councilor at Large Jason Groh, Ward 5 Councilor and Council Vice President Sean Nolan, and I am Tony Gross, Councilor at Large and Council President. We also have with us tonight, we have the Mayor is with us, and remote is our CAO, Kelly Dolan. We have, to my left, we have our City Clerk, Grace Poirier. We have Chief Williams, Police Chief Williams in attendance this evening, and we have our Harbor Master, Chris Lucido is also remote. Oh, and Kenny Costa, our City Auditor, is also remote. We will now have the flag salute. Jason?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Oral communications.
I'd also like to recognize School Committee Chair Kathy Clancy and School Secretary Laura Wyson, who are in attendance this evening. Okay, the public shall have the opportunity at every regularly scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communication shall allow any resident and/or property owner and/or business owner who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, make their statement without debate, and the city council will refer to the matters to the office of the mayor. Persons speaking under oral communications shall be limited to 3 minutes each. I'm a little concerned if we have minors giving their address. All right, just state your name.
My name is Lacey Barry, and I would like to request 1 extra minute because I'm speaking on behalf of the students I brought today.
Speaking for all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Lacey Barry. I am 16 years old and a sophomore at Gloucester High School. To begin, I would like to recite a poem which I learned in my history class, and I hope will allow you to understand why I feel responsible to speak to you all tonight. It is called First They Came For by Pastor Martin Niemöller. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. What I learned from this quote is that it is important to be a voice for the people that don't have one, and to not wait to speak up. I am speaking to you tonight because I am no longer content with our circumstances. No longer will I stand by while my teachers are told their positions are being threatened by an outrageous budget. No longer will I be silent while I see children in our special education program not have access to the services they are required by law to have. No longer will I just let the adults handle business, because look where we are now. As a city, we have the potential to be leaders among the North Shore and beyond, but currently we are falling short. There are no shortcuts or backup plans for education, so why are we acting like lowering the school budget is going to make a positive change? I can tell you right now, as a student who is a mainstream learner and also a part of our special education program, that continuing to lower the budget has ramifications larger than what you're considering right now. Currently in my mainstream classes, we have ratios that are around 20 students to 1 teacher. In my special ed class, we have a ratio of 12 students to 1 teacher and 1 paraprofessional. My largest class is my U.S. history class, which, including myself, has 26 students to 1 teacher. I'm sorry, but you just can't convince me that by taking away teachers, it will make learning any easier and more accessible for students. It is extremely challenging to feel like you don't understand what you're learning because you have to fight 25 other kids for your teacher's attention. Doesn't every student matter? Then why are you allowing this to happen? If every student matters, how would lowering the budget help us? If anything, we need more resources. I don't find it fair you can walk into our library and there's a handful of people waiting to help you check out a book. Or how you can walk into City Hall and you don't have to wait to see a clerk. But we already don't have an adequate amount of resources in our schools, and you seem to be okay approving numbers that keep getting smaller. My peers and I have big ambitions for our future, but I'm afraid the places that are supposed to be setting us up for success are not, due to their lack of support from our own city. I want to graduate and be proud of the city that had my back and my teachers' backs, but right now we don't feel your support. We don't feel like you care about us. So please, City Council, please put your money where your mouth is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak at oral communications?
State my name for the record. Laura Wiesen, 18 Commonwealth Ave. I know many of you. I'm a school committee member. I'm also a parent of 2 children in Gloucester Public Schools, at O'Malley and at Beeman Elementary. Lacey's a hard act to follow. She speaks to you as a student. I want to say that our students can't do with less. They simply cannot. Their needs are huge, and the teachers work so hard to meet the needs. And to take teachers out of our schools, which is what's happening, and to remove the just required services that we have to pay for is just, I know that the city budget has a lot of requirements. I know that you have a lot of people that need funds. I know that there's departments that you're working with, and I know that the city as a whole has huge needs. But the students aren't the least of them. The students should be the first need, because that is the future of Gloucester. And people want to feel proud of these schools. People want to feel proud of Gloucester Public Schools, but it's hard when our budget is being cut this much and we're still struggling to maintain services and excellence. So I understand you're battling a lot of need, but I just really urge you to reconsider and think about Gloucester Public School students and the future of Gloucester that they hold. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Oh, you're going to have to wait a minute because we already pulled somebody remote in. You're going to have to wait. Go ahead, Marianne.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think there's somebody else on this. Okay, I'll just start. Mary Ann Boucher, 93 Mount Pleasant Avenue. This past week, I went to the city website to look up a past meeting, and I noticed the public can no longer go to the website and locate past meetings beyond the previous year. As one who has done much research this way, I find that what it's going to cause is it's going to cause more people to, or there will be an increase in the use of the public records request if people can't go back and search meetings themselves and locate, a past meeting or information that they need. It's extremely convenient, and it's very disappointing that it has been taken away, unless there's been some sort of mistake. I've tried several times in the last week to search, and I can't go back beyond 2025. And I'm respectfully asking that you bring it back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, I came in a bit late and I'm not sure.
Name and address for the record.
Oh, sorry. Peggy Flanagan. I live at 19 Liberty Street. And I just got out of class and ran over here, so I'm still actually
3
out
minutes.
of breath. So I'm here because for the past about 3 years, I've been asking at City Hall in the mayor's office for repairs on our sidewalk on 19 Liberty Street, particularly on my side of the street. And I know it may be kind of a small issue compared to some of the other bigger ones like the schools, etc. But it really is, it's a small thing, but it's very important. One of the reasons I started asking about this was I fell on ice, not on the sidewalk in my own driveway 3 years ago, but I badly damaged my wrist. I had surgery, they put in a plate and pins, I had a difficult recovery, and that was on ice. And ever since then, I see our sidewalk, and it is so broken up and in bad condition that it wouldn't even need to be winter. People could trip and fall on our sidewalk today. And in fact, today I was working in my office. Upstairs, I saw across the street one of my neighbors who has MS. I haven't seen him in probably a year because he barely leaves the house, as far as I know. He was walking down the street with his wife very slowly with a cane, and he did fine. He was on the other side of the street, luckily. That sidewalk is better. But can you imagine, this man's been suffering for years, and he's finally out walking, which is a wonderful thing. And it frightens me to think that he could fall and hurt himself badly. That's somebody who lives across the street. Next to me is a woman who also walks with a cane, and she has some difficulty walking. There are other elderly people on my street. One of the things that my husband and I have noticed driving around Gloucester is that some sidewalks that get repaired are very important thoroughfares like Dale Ave. Understandable. Other sidewalks, people don't even walk on, really. Our street, right over there, people walk on it to the train. You can see them coming and going during rush hour. What I've been told over the past 3 years, okay, what I've been told is, oh, it's not on this fiscal year's budget, but we'll get it on next year. Next year comes, no, it's not on the budget. Then I've heard it's on not thinking of the department, the facilities, whatever, Public Works, whatever. It's on their list, but no guarantee we'll get it done. I think it should be done, and I'm here to ask you to please do it. It's a small sidewalk in Gloucester, but an important one for the people who live there and for the people who walk to the train. Thank you.
Thank you. I know, just for the students' sake, and we're kind of a conduit for communications through us to the mayor for most of this business. There's a rare instance where something is actually things that are under our jurisdiction, but what's your comments channel through us to the mayor? Yeah, you too. Oh. I said the mayor will get these comments. Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the room for oral communications? We don't have anybody online, so next order of business, Madam Clerk.
The consent agenda.
Would any counselors wish to pull anything off the consent agenda? Entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Gross, seconded by Counselor Memard. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
May 21st, Budget and Finance Standing Committee report.
Counselor Memard.
Thank you.
I told the Assistant Chief that you'd be able to handle this.
I think so. Thank you. We have a few items from the Budget and Finance Committee for your consideration. We met last Thursday in the conference room downstairs on the 21st. The first item on the Budget and Finance agenda for your consideration is a memorandum from the Fire Chief requesting acceptance of the fiscal year 2026 DFS Student Awareness of Fire Education SAFE grant, which is in the amount of $7,125.20. And secondarily, and connected to that, is the fiscal year 2026 DFS Senior SAFE grant, which is in the amount of $3,028.66. So we have two motions. The first, on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page, Budget and Finance Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council accept a state grant under Mass General Law, Chapter 4453A, a fiscal year 2026 school-based student awareness of fire education, or SAFE grant from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Department of Fire Services, and this is in the amount of $7,125.20, and it's for the purpose of providing fire and life safety education to students pre-K through 12th grade classrooms. The grant period is through August 31st, 2026, and there is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Page. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0.
And the second half of this is related to the seniors as opposed to the students. Budget and Finance recommended, on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page again. We voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council accept a state grant under Mass General Law, Chapter 4453A, a fiscal year 2026 Senior Awareness of Fire Education, or SAFE, grant from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Department of Fire Services, and this is in the amount of $3,028.66, and it's for the purpose of providing fire and life safety education to the senior population, those age 65 and older, and the grant period is through August 31st, 2026, and again, there is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Page. Any discussion? No? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0.
The next two items for your consideration from our Budget and Finance Committee meeting are memoranda from the Harbor Master requesting authorization for the use of $52,100 in fiscal year 2025 retained earnings to support the Harbor Master's operational needs. And the first is a recommendation, which on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page, Budget and Finance voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council approve a supplemental appropriation, SA 2026 number 19, and this is in the amount of $25,000 from the Waterways Enterprise Fund, undesignated fund balance, retained earnings, or free cash, account number as noted, to the Waterways Enterprise Fund, purchase of services, account number as noted, and this is for the purpose of repairs to the floats at the Solomon Jacobs and Park and to provide training for seasonal assistant harbor masters. And I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Page. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Grow.
Yes.
Counselor Kimberly.
Yes.
Counselor Majota.
Yes.
Counselor Memhard.
Aye.
Counselor Nolan.
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Aye.
Counselor Benson.
Aye.
Counselor Grace.
Aye.
Counselor Gross.
Aye.
Vote is 9 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
The second part of this request from our harbor master, on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page. Budget and Finance voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council approve a supplemental appropriation 2026 SA 20, and this is in the amount of $27,100 from the Waterways Enterprise Fund, undesignated fund balance, retained earnings / free cash, account number is noted, to the Waterways Enterprise Fund repairs and maintenance, boat and marine maintenance, account number is noted, and this is for the purpose of boat repairs and related equipment, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Memard, seconded by Councilor Page. Discussion. Seeing none.
Councilor Grow.
Yes.
Councilor Kimberly.
Yes.
Councilor Majota.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Aye.
Councilor Nolan.
Yes.
Councilor Page.
Aye.
Councilor Benson.
Aye.
Councilor Grace.
Aye.
Councilor Gross.
Aye.
Vote is 9 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Item number 3 in our Budget and Finance agenda for your consideration is a memorandum from the Gloucester Archives Committee requesting our acceptance of donations in the total amount of $105. On a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page, Budget and Finance voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council accept various cash donations under Mass General Law 4453A to support the Archives Committee in the total amount of $105 from the following members and business partners in our community, whom are Judy Peterson, Leo White, Christine Meany, Russell Hobbs, Diana Merrow, Gregory Morrow, Margaret Heinrich, for a total of $105. And with thanks, I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Memard, seconded by Councilor Page. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0.
Next, a memorandum from the Community Development Director on behalf of the Affordable Housing Trust, requesting acceptance of an award of $300,000 to Habitat for Humanity for the acquisition and development of number 47 Washington Street. On a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page, Budget and Finance voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council accept an award of $300,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust and/or the Community Preservation Fund to support the acquisition and development of 47 Washington Street by Habitat for Humanity, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Memard, seconded by Councilor Page. Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0.
And the last item from us is a memorandum from the Arts, Cultural, and Events Coordinator requesting acceptance of a $14,000 award from the Massachusetts Cultural Council for Gloucester's local cultural council. Budget and Finance, on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Page, voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, recommend that the City Council accept a state grant under Mass General Law, Chapter 4453A from the Massachusetts Cultural Council in the amount of $14,000 to the Gloucester Cultural Council, and this is for the purpose of supporting the fiscal year 2026 local cultural projects in the City of Gloucester. The grant period is from July 1st, 2025, and through June 30th, 2026, and there is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Memard, seconded by Councilor Page. Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
There was not, the May 18th Ordinances and Administration Committee meeting, a meeting was not held that day, nor was there a Planning and Development meeting on May 20th. So the next order of business is scheduled public hearings. Public hearing 2026, number 18, Council Order 2026, number 8, Gross, amend GCO Chapter 2, Administration, Division 5, Mariners Medal Committee, Section 2-454 duties by striking the sentence, such, quote, such an act must have taken place within a 6-month period from date of notification, end quote.
I'll open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak in favor?
Yes, my name is Paul Lundberg. I live at 5 Bridgewater Street in Gloucester, and I'm the mayor of Gloucester. And I'm here to speak in favor of the amendment to the Mariners Medal ordinance. The Mariners Medal, as most of us know, is a long tradition in the city of Gloucester. It's been a part of our ordinances for over 70 years. The Mariners Medal is given upon the recommendation of the Mariners Medal Committee for acts of heroism on the high seas. And the Mariners Medal Committee makes a recommendation to the City Council, and the City Council is the ultimate grantor of the Mariners Medal. Recently, we have had a series of events that culminated in the loss of life by the vessel Lily Jean earlier this year, and the issue of whether there were acts of heroism on the high sea that preceded that, going back several years, should be noted and perhaps awarded. When in evaluating this whole situation and consulting with the President of the City Council, we realized that one sentence limiting the incidents that were to be considered by the Mariners Medal Committee had to be within 6 months, did not have any real meaning for us, and in fact excluded us honoring acts of heroism. So thank you to Council President Gross, who introduced this change, and I am here to speak in favor of it. If we are able to amend the ordinance, and then the mayor will then appoint a Mariners Committee. There is no Mariners Medal Committee right now. The Mariners Medal Committee is made up of the mayor, 3 masters of vessels from the commercial vessels on the high seas, and a 5th person. Then the mayor will appoint a Mariners Medal Committee, and we will proceed to consider nominations of acts of heroism from the past, without limitation to a time limit. So I hope that you can consider voting in favor of changing the ordinance, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Do we have any communications, Madam Clerk?
No, we do not.
Do we have questions from the councilors? We can close the public hearing. Councilor Nolan, would you like to read the recommendation?
On a motion by Councilor Majota, second by Councilor Grace, the Ordinance Administration Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the City Council amend the Gloucester Code Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Division 5, Mariners Medal Committee, Section 2-454, duties by deleting such an act must have taken place within a 6-month period from date of notification, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Nolan, seconded by Councilor Majota. Discussion. Councilor Benson.
Thank you. I just want to say I appreciate you bringing this forward, Councilor Gross, and all the work that you've done during this very difficult time for this community since the sinking of the Lily Jean, and I know this community is still hurting so much, and my heart goes out to the families. And I appreciate the mayor as well bringing this forward, and I know this is a challenging time, and I know we will in the summer be putting the names of those that were lost at sea and commemorate and honor their lives, and their lives will never be forgotten. But I want to thank you specifically, Councilor Gross, for all that you've done for this community and for these families these past several months. Thank you.
Anyone else? I mean, when I saw this, I brought it forward because this just didn't make any sense. 6 months, we know, is just a blink of an eye, and for some things to get back, because having spent, my life on the water, people are pretty private and sometimes don't necessarily share things that they've done. So other people have to speak up for them. And so I think that this was a really limiting factor that should not have existed. So. Anybody else? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. No opposition. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2025, number 50, Council Order 2025, number 41, Worthley. Amend GCO Chapter 5, Buildings and Building Regulations by adding a new Article 6, demolition delay. This is continued from the April 14th meeting.
So we're picking up where we left, kind of where we left off. We had actually moved a little bit into the speaking, the questions from councilors, but we're back to the public comment period. And if you have commented earlier, I would request that only new people, because I think all of us rewatched in recent memory, you know, in the last couple of days, rewatched that previous public hearing and are up to speed with what was said then. So anyone who would like to speak, do I have to gavel it in to reopen? We never closed it, so it's open. Anyone who would like to speak in favor or in opposition on this? Step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Laura Evans, business at 185 Main Street. Since the 1980s, I served as a literary agent and then publisher for Joe Garland, author of 22 books, many of them maritime, one on the history of Eastern Point. I have them with me. We published an edition of the Gloucester Guide and Unknown Soldiers Reliving World War II in Europe, a collective memoir of his army outfit that ultimately liberated Dachau. Joe was a member of the Gloucester Historical Commission and director of the Sawyer Free Library. I visited my friends Joe and Helen countless times at Harborside Black Bess, built in the late 1800s. To get to Joe's study in Black Bess, you climbed stairs holding a ship's rope. There he wrote his best-selling book, Lone Voyager, about Howard Blackburn. On the porch wall overlooking the harbor was part of the captain's wheel from Blackburn's sailboat that even Garland couldn't save when it crashed on Black Bess's stormy rocks. Driving by Black Bess recently, I saw it surrounded by construction fencing and keep out signs. I felt disbelief, sadness, fear, anger. The city had granted a demolition permit a week earlier, which I appealed last week, trying to buy a little time before Black Bess is gone forever. Time to allow the democratic process we participate in tonight to come to a vote on the fate of the demo delay or ordinance. I understand my appeal is on the agenda for the ZBA's June 11 meeting. At the very least, I believe the imminent destruction of Black Bess argues strongly in favor of the city adopting this ordinance, if only to mitigate, if not prevent, a similar fate befalling other such historic structures. Black Bess serves as a kind of poster child for this ordinance, showing that historic buildings constitute the fabric of community, not a mere commodity with worth defined in dollars alone. If Gloucester joins some 50% of New England cities with such demo delay ordinances, we protect our common living history. Yes, it is another ordinance as potentially irksome to homeowners as setback requirements or height restrictions, but with roughly one historic house slated for demolition per year, owners and the city can surely come to a reasonable terms, so at the very least, the city will discover and chronicle what it is losing in a demolition of an historic property. The ordinance buys time for thought, community participation, deliberation. Joe brought the historic schooner adventure to Gloucester, now a National Historic Landmark with
20 seconds.
Okay, then I'll jump right ahead. But if nothing else, the destruction of Black Bess offers an urgent argument in favor of Gloucester's need for this demolition delay ordinance. Let the process play out, the people be heard, and the councilors vote their consciences for what is fair and right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Harry Fuller. I'm on 7 Ratcliffe Street. And my wife Jill and I are walkers. And we walk past this house dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Each time we walk by, we stop and we marvel at everything about this house. And have just come to believe that this is a symbol of the history of Eastern Point. And it sort of stands as a sentinel guarding the harbor for over 100 years. It's just unbelievable to us that it could be considered for demolition. It's a very special place, not only architecturally, as was mentioned, but because the people who have lived and worked there and their contribution to the written history of Gloucester. So we are saddened by the prospect of demolition and support the ordinance requiring delay. That having been said, I think with a really super sensitive architect and engineer, there could be selective demolition to this house and care taken to preserve the shapes and roof lines and details of the structure so that you might never know that it was fiddled with. And that's an architectural term, I guess. Anyhow, we are very much in favor of this ordinance and give people who are concerned time to think about it and develop kind of alternative futures for that building. Thank you.
Thank you. Three-minute limit.
My name is Lillian Olmsted, and I live at 10 Eastern Point Boulevard. And why a demolition delay in Gloucester is so important to preserve its cultural heritage now and for future generations. Red roof, built in 1902 by A. Pyatt Andrew. Professor at Harvard, FDR was a student in his class, political economy. FDR often visited Red Roof in the presidential yacht. He was Assistant Secretary of the Treasury under FDR, Treasurer of the American Red Cross, 1910 to 1912, helped to create the first American ambulance field service to evaluate casualties from the front line during World War I. A. Pyatt Andrew Bridge, named after him. The property was sold in January 2011, first time to leave family ownership. The guest book remained with the family. Demolished within a year after it was sold, a chimney, garden house, and one stone wall were spared. There was no opportunity to document with photographs and written records or save important historical artifacts. A demolition delay would have created an opportunity to preserve, create, and archive valuable records for future historical research. A demolition's delay would not prevent the owner of the property their right to demolish or alter the property, but would allow time for the collection of significant and historical records, along with ensuring these irreplaceable historical records will be safeguarded for the future generations. Thank you for your consideration of this important protection of Gloucester's wonderful history. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Rob Colbert, and I've lived at 90 Eastern Point Boulevard for 15 years, and I purchased 95 Eastern Point Boulevard 2 years ago. I'm not in favor of the ordinance as it's described. The demo permit is the last step in a long and lengthy planning process, as you well know. I've been at it for a year and a half with architects, builders, engineers, wetlands consultants, landscape consultants to get approval from the Health Department, Conservation Commission, Building Department, and Zoning Department over the past year and a half. I get it. I didn't want to be in the position I'm in, but the house had been poorly maintained for many, many, many years. I had numerous architects and builders help me to try to save portions of the house if possible. And everyone that I spoke to told us time and time again it was not possible. So we did the opposite. We're lucky that Joe Garland and his family had left a tremendous amount of artifacts with the Cape Ann Museum and any historical commission that they could possibly find. We had been neighbors with them for 15 years. We were very fortunate that for what they were not able to keep as family or to donate to places that could make sure that Joe's legacy lives on for many generations, that they were kind enough to leave to us so that we can use around the property, whether it's his many old anchors that he loved from all of his sailing adventures to many books and book signings that we were very fortunate with photos as well. You know, the ordinance, I think, is at the wrong place. It should be at the beginning, because I hope, like me, most people are looking down the path of what can you save, and in worst case, what can you do to honor the legacy and to keep some elements of the home so that hopefully at the end of the day, someone can say, it looks new, it looks different, and it is different. And quite frankly, the home is different. It's an 1889 building.
20 seconds.
Thank you. That was totally destroyed by fire, according to Joe Garland's book, in 1916, and has had many renovations to the original building going back to the late 70s. So, you know, for that reason, I'm not in favor as is, but I'm very much in favor of preserving history when reasonable and possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the auditorium?
Barbara Lambert, 27 Vine Street. It seems to me that a more descriptive name for demolition delay should be Heritage Consideration Period. We live in a black and white world. Everybody is so quick to assume the worst of such proposals. The old adage, two heads are better than one, applies particularly well to demolition delay. A similar program to demolition delay is already working well in Gloucester, the Gloucester Historic District Commission, that protects exteriors of buildings within the district. This commission is made up of professionals. There are 2 distinguished architects sensitive to historic structures and a contractor builder, as well as citizens, historians, and owners of buildings in the district. The approach is not one of opposition, but rather a conspiracy of helpfulness. Owners present changes that they wish and need to make to the exteriors of their buildings to the commissioners. In full disclosure, I am one of the commissioners. We consider the owner's needs and plans, the building and its conditions, as well as the relationship to the surrounding areas. Almost to a fault, the owners either find their proposals are fine, or within the discussion with the commissioners, the owners avail themselves of free expert suggestions, tips, and advice, and in the end, find more satisfying solutions. This is what is proposed by demolition delay. Rather than just demolishing a structure out of hand, let's afford a moment to consider the significance of a building's historic presence, and with the free help of experienced commissioners, how the owner's desires might result in a solution or compromise that is satisfactory and pleasing to both parties. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple of people online. Sandy B. Name and address.
Yes, Sandy Barry, located at 93 Wheeler Street. I've lived in this area for 28 years and have seen several houses demolished. Wheeler Street is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. Last year, a 1855 Gothic revival house was the latest house to be demolished. And I also was so surprised to see Joe and Helen Garland's house being demolished. I was very sad to lose that part of the city's history. I hope you vote to approve the demo delay ordinance. Thank you so much, councilors.
Thank you. Wendy Frontero. Need to unmute.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm Wendy Frontiero. I live at 120 Maplewood Ave. I'm an architect and an historic preservation consultant. My father's family has lived in Gloucester for more than 100 years, making a living mostly from fishing, in good times and bad. My first professional job was in Gloucester in the late 1970s for the Gloucester Development Team. I prepared an inventory featuring at least one house on every street inside Route 128, excepting Eastern Point. Since then, I have worked in Gloucester on several other survey projects, an historic properties survey plan, and a citywide National Register nomination for maritime resources. I also spent the better part of a year as a preservation planner for the city, providing technical assistance and initiating implementation of a citywide preservation plan. I've been living in Gloucester for the second time for the last 5 years. So the buildings and the people in Gloucester are close to my heart. Gloucester has an extraordinary collection of historic resources in the downtown and throughout the outlying neighborhoods. The city has about 12,000 buildings altogether, residential, institutional, commercial, and industrial. Gloucester's extraordinary cultural heritage is reflected in a wealth of 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th century architecture, representing all levels of society. I am only a little biased, but very well experienced when I say that the number, quality, variety, cohesiveness, and physical integrity of Gloucester's historic buildings is unparalleled for a city of its size in Massachusetts, or for just about any other place in this country, for that matter. We are put on this earth not only to pursue individual gain, but also to protect and advance the common good. That includes the opportunity to learn from and be enriched by our shared past. Historic buildings are one way that we anchor ourselves in time. The people who lived here before us are gone, but the buildings they left behind tell the stories of how they lived and what they valued. Historic preservation ensures that their lives still matter today. The proposed demolition ordinance is carefully crafted. It does not seek to stop change, only to guide it with sensitivity and understanding. Demolition is permanent. Demolition delay is short-term. It gives all parties a chance to work together constructively. I strongly encourage you to approve this demolition delay ordinance. As Joe Garland wistfully and wittily wrote about the demolition of a very elegant 1830s house on Main Street and its replacement by a nondescript gas station, quote, "Where else in Gloucester can we peel back the layers of our history and find such a succession of lifestyles, such a proliferation of paradox," unquote. This demolition delay ordinance can help minimize those most painful paradoxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the auditorium? No one else online? Communications, they were all
Yeah, council has continued to receive communications or email communications, which have been distributed to the full council, but they were not received in time for the official record tonight.
okay. Questions from the council. There's no rebuttal on anything tonight. Questions from the council? I'll open it up. Councilor Page.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Barbara Lambert. Sorry?
The petition.
I can't ask Barbara then. So sorry, Barbara, I'm new. I don't. Can I make a comment?
After. Okay. Anyone else have questions? I'm going to close the public hearing. Councilor Nolan.
The preservation and historically, oh, sorry. I move to recommend the City Council amend the Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 5, by adding a new Article 6 entitled, "The Preservation of Historically Significant Buildings," as follows. Article 6, the preservations of historically significant buildings. Section 570, intent and purpose. The ordinance is enacted for the purpose of preserving and protecting significant buildings within the city of Gloucester, which constitute or reflect distinctive features of the architectural, cultural, economic, political, or social history of the city, and to limit the detrimental effect of demolition on the character of the city. Through this ordinance, owners preferable preserved buildings are encouraged to speak out at alternative options that will preserve the rehabilitate or restore such buildings, and residents of the city are alerted to impending demolition or significant buildings. By preserving and protecting significant buildings, this ordinance promotes the public welfare by making the city a more attractive and desirable place in which to live and work. To achieve these purposes, the Historical Commission is authorized to make recommendations to the Building Commissioner and the City Council as necessary with respect to demolition permit applications. These insurances of demolition permits is regulated as provided by this ordinance. Section 5-71, definitions. Applicant means any person or entity who files an application for demolition permit if the applicant is not the owner of the premises upon which the building is situated. The owner must indicate, or with application, his or her assent to the filing of the application. Application means an application for the demolition of a building. Building means any combination of materials referring a shelter for persons, animals, or property. Building commissioner means the person occupies in the office of the building commissioner or who is otherwise authorized to issue demolition permits. Commission means the Gloucester Historical Commission. Community Development Director means the person occupying the office as Community Development Director or their designee. Demolition means any act of pulling down, destroying, removing, dismantling, or raising a building, or commencing the work of a total or substantial destruction with the intent of completing the same. Demolition permit means the building permit issued by the building commissioner for a demolition of a building, excluding a building permit issued solely for the demolition or the interior of the building.
Of the interior.
Of the interior. Excellent. Councilor Grace, would you like to carry on?
MACRIS means the Massachusetts Cultural Resource Information System database. Preferably preserved means any significant building which the City Council determines following a public hearing that it is in the public interest to be preserved rather than demolished. A preferably preserved building is subject to the 12-month demolition period of this ordinance. Significant building
Delay period.
I'm sorry? Sorry. Delay period of this ordinance. Significant building means any building within the city which was in whole or in part built in or before 1899, according to the Massachusetts Cultural Resource Information System database, MACRIS, which has been determined by the Commission or its designee to be significant based on any of the following criteria. A, important association with one or more historic persons or events, or with the broad architectural, cultural, political, economic, or social history of the city. B, historical or architectural importance in terms of period, style, method of building, construction, or association with recognized architect or builder. Section 5-72 procedure. 1, no permit to demolish a building which, according to MACRIS, was built in or prior to 1899 shall be issued without the following provisions of this ordinance. The Commission is authorized to develop a list of significant buildings that are subject to this ordinance. 2, the building commissioner shall review all applications for demolition permits to determine if the building was built in or prior to 1899 or is included on the list of significant buildings provided by the commission. 3, the applicant proposing to demolish a building subject to this ordinance shall file with the building commissioner an application containing the following information. A, the address of the building to be demolished. B, the owner's name, address, and contact information. C, a description of the building. D, the reason for requesting a demolition permit. And E, a brief description of the proposed reuse, reconstruction, or replacement. 4, the building commissioner shall within 5 business days forward a copy of the application to the community development director and the commission. Upon receipt of the application, the commission shall make an initial recommendation within 15 days whether the building is a significant building at its next regularly scheduled or special meeting. A, the initial recommendation shall be made by a simple majority of a quorum. B, the commission fails to act within 15 days of the date of the notification, the building commissioner may then issue the demolition permit. 6, upon recommendation that the building is not significant, the commission shall notify the community development director and building commissioner in writing within 5 business days of the vote. The building commissioner may then issue the demolition permit. 7, the commission recommends the building is a significant building. It shall hold a public hearing to recommend that the city council that the building is preferably preserved within 30 days following the initial recommendation. A, within 5 business days of its initial recommendation, the commission shall notify the community development director and building commissioner in writing of the date for the public hearing. B, the community development director shall send notice to the public hearing to the applicant and abutting property owners and shall publish the public notice of the time, place, and purpose of the hearing at least 7 days prior to the scheduled date of the hearing. 8, after the close of the public hearing, the commission shall vote to recommend to the city council whether the building is preferably preserved. 9, the commission shall notify the community development director and the building commissioner of his recommendation within 5 business days of the public hearing. 10, the commission recommends that a building is preferably preserved. Its recommendation shall be sent to the mayor to be forwarded to the city council for a public hearing to be held within 30 days of receipt from the mayor. 11, after the close of the public hearing, the city council shall vote to determine that building is preferably preserved and shall provide written notice of its determination to the applicant within 30 days. Upon determination by the city council that a building is preferably preserved, no building permit for new construction or alterations to the subject building shall be issued for a period of 12 months from the date of the determination.
Section 573, historical photos. The commission may seek the owner's consent to photograph the interior and exterior of any building determined to be preferably preserved for Gloucester's historical records. Section 574, administration. The community development director is authorized to determine any reasonable fees necessary to cover the costs associated with the administration of this ordinance and shall submit the same to City Council for approval pursuant to Section 2 through 28. Section 5 through 75, emergency demolition. Notwithstanding the forgiving provisions, the building commission may issue a demolition permit at any time in the event of imminent and substantial danger to the health or safety of the public due to the deterioration conditions. No provision of this ordinance is intended to conflict with any or and obligations of rights conferred by GL Chapter 143 regarding the removal of demolition of dangerous or abandoned structures. In the event of conflict, the applicant provisions of GL Chapter 143 shall control. Section 5 through 76, enforcement and remedies. The building commissioner is authorized to institute any and all actions proceeding in law or equity as they may deem necessary and appropriate to attain compliance with the requirements of this ordinance or to prevent a threatened violation thereof. Any owner of a building subject to the ordinance and demolition, the building without first obtaining a demolition permit in ordinance for the provisions of this ordinance shall be subject to fine of not more than $300. Each day the violation exists shall constitute a separate offense until a faithful recreation of the demolition of the demolished building to complete or unless otherwise agreed to by the commission. If a building subject to this ordinance is demolished without first obtaining a demolition permit, no building shall be issued for a period of 2 years from the date of the demolition of the subject parcel of land or any adjoining parcels of land. Oh, sorry.
It was building permit.
Oh. Now I lost my point. Okay. A building subject to the ordinance is demolished without first obtaining a demolition permit. No building permit shall be issued for a period of 2 years from the date of the demolition of the subject parcel of land or any adjoining parcels of land under common ownership and control unless the building permit is for the faithful recreation referred to above or unless otherwise agreed to by the commission. Section 5 through 77, severability. In case of any section, paragraph, or part of this ordinance be for any reason declared invalid or unconstitutional by any court, every other section, paragraph, and part shall continue in full force, in effect. And I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Majota, seconded by Councilor Grace. Okay, discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for a question.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you. In my addled brain tonight, I was a little slow coming off the marks. I do have a question, Susan, if you could, as the applicant or the plaintiff. Yeah, applicant. You're not the plaintiff. Proponent, thank you. I'm struck by the conversation tonight about Black Bass and Joe Garland's building home. And I guess this is my ignorance speaking. Part of this is part of ignorance and my lack of history of the house. But while that building may have been built before 1900, it was mentioned tonight that it was destroyed in 1965, so it was rebuilt in its entirety. It also seems to, if my memory or if my understanding is correct, gained most of its notoriety from the ownership of someone in the 20th century, so well before 1900. So I guess the question I'm asking you is that in light of the fact that the notoriety of the building is primarily the 20th century, it was built primarily in the 20th century, even if the original building was built prior to that. The owner has come forward and said that he tried on numerous occasions to find ways to preserve parts of the building and the architecture. How would all this fit into your proposed ordinance? And would it be a situation where, as much as we might be romantically attached to it, it doesn't necessarily apply in this case?
Yes, absolutely. But the ordinance gives us a chance to pause. In this case, the building wasn't applied for a permit and taken down right away, which is in most cases the plan. It gives a pause to that process so that we as a commission can assess whether it's just a romantic notion about the house. It was notable at one time, it isn't anymore. That's all. It just pauses the process before it's too late.
So in this particular case, that would be the 15-day period. Because
Within the 15-day period, we would make an initial assessment based on all the historical information we have, based on hopefully being able to talk to the owner, which I happen to be in this case, and through Scott Mamard, that was very kind. But I can't speak for the commission right now as to whether we would go past that initial assessment and ask for a public hearing or not. But that's what the pause is, and the pause can be as short as that 15-day period. But just let us, number one, know, otherwise we don't know, be able to get together and give an assessment, and possibly then ask the owner for permission to document it.
Right. Do you think that we would need an entire year to get that process going? I mean, Mr. Culvert's right here. He bought the property. He's had an attachment to its history. He's made an effort, he says, to preserve that history, even if that history doesn't necessarily combine. I'm getting there. My questions are long-winded. Doesn't necessarily apply to the dates and the categorization of historically relevant. How does that fit into the scheme of the decision-making? See, there's a question mark.
I'm sorry, what was the bottom line of your question?
Bottom line was when you have somebody who's already articulated that they're willing, they tried to find a way to preserve something historical about the building, do they really need to wait a year to get a decision into the process, from the process?
No, and that's what's built into the ordinance. So then when we come up with whatever you want to call it, and we agree the building can't be saved or that they've done everything they can, then the permit can be stopped, and then the building can go forward. But in the case where the owner is not as cooperative as Rob Cuthbert, and they resist, and they're just waiting with their builder to take down this historic gem that is notable for Gloucester, and they're not doing much of anything, as he has done.
You answered his specific question.
Yeah, I would
was
just,
trying
the
to
follow-up
keep this-
would be that, though, since you brought it up, there's nothing in this ordinance that gives any bite to make a recalcitrant owner cooperate with the commission other than the delay of waiting the time. They can sit on their fingers for that year and do nothing.
Well, we can't, nobody can make a homeowner do what they don't want to do.
Thank you, and thank you for the council for indulging my
Councilor Page.
question delay.
I'll direct this question to Susan, because I believe that you worked with Barbara Lambert on her historic preservation application, and my question would be,
I'm sorry, but that's incorrect. We did not. Barbara Lambert, her preservation restriction?
I watched a meeting of the Historic Commission where you did mention it.
We might have mentioned it, but we were following up with Historic New England to see if it had gone through. That was all. In fact,
Questions on the ordinance.
Yeah, okay. Well, could I ask, and rule me out if not, why would either a historic preservation or some deed restriction not be as effective or more effective, actually, than passing a citywide ordinance?
it absolutely is effective, and in fact, more effective because it's built into the deed for posterity.
No, yeah, that's not up for discussion on this. This is
Okay, that's fine.
over and above what, I mean, those are definitely preferable, as Susan just said. Susan, I have a couple of questions. In section 5-72 procedure, it says the commission is authorized to develop a list of significant buildings that are subject to this ordinance. That's 5-721, and then 5-722, it says the building commissioner shall review all applications for demolition permits to determine if the building was built in or prior to 1899 or is included in the list. Is it the commission's intention to create a list of significant buildings so that is, the building commissioner will know, the purchasers may know, the sellers will know? Is that something that can be then published on the website, on your page, of the list of significant buildings that you guys have?
Sure, it absolutely could. It could.
Is that something that you intend to do? Is it because you wrote it in the ordinance?
Yes. Yeah, that would be published. Understand, though, that as we refine our historic research, that list change a little.
Correct.
And the building department knows that, and they're fine with that, too.
Because that would be helpful for all
Yeah.
concerned.
Right.
And I'm wondering if we should have a, well, I'll bring that up later. Anyone else? Councilor Benson.
Thank you. And maybe this is more in the discussion and you can shut me down. I appreciate you providing this. Looking at these here, and I'm just curious, you list a lot of, you name some of these buildings here. There's a lot that are not named. And then that gives me to the thought of really where I have some concern that there are buildings that may be old, but they don't have any historic significance to the community. They're just old, and I'm thinking of some that you've listed in my ward specifically. Gould Court, for example. A lot of these homes that you list here are old, but they don't really have any historic significance to the community. And many have been rehabbed for multiple times. What do you say, though, specifically to these? I really think there's great value in this ordinance. My question is, what do you say to those that homes that are old, but they don't really have any historic value, and why preserve those built? Like, why look at preserving those buildings when they really have no historic value? Based on this list, I'm just curious, the homes that you don't list that have no name, do they have historic value?
They're only on the list because they met the criteria of being built before 1900 and listed in the state database. That's why they're on the list. There are exclusions in the end because they were already demolished, but they're still on the list, and that gives us historic history of them. So in the cases of, we have to meet within 15 days. If the building department tells us this house has a demo permit pulled on it, and then we determine it's not notable in any way, go ahead. We tell the building department within 5 days, go ahead and do what you want with the house.
But within 15 days, you're saying
Yes.
to be able to.
The initial assessment, right.
So if you say that, because again, I think that there's great value here in supporting this, but I do think, yeah, we're delaying projects from being rehabbed, or well, specifically not rehabbed here, let me correct that, being demolished, that are just old buildings, but they're decaying, blah, blah, blah. Yes, so you kind of answered that question. You did answer that. I still have some reservations with that. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, there are many houses on the list that would not be notable, but they're simply on the list because they met the criteria of the year of build.
If I may, how would you determine if they're I understand, but really, how are we determining a building? I'm just having a hard time here.
I think,
yeah.
That's almost very difficult to define.
Yes, I'm having a hard time understanding.
Case by case, you know, and as they've stated, only one per year that would fit in this criteria has come up. So I think that they can probably, it's not like they'll be inundated with a.
Yeah, no, and I think, if I may, lastly, I think too, like some of the homes that may not say have a historic significance to a historic figure, but say preserving homes that are significantly old. I'm looking at some that go back to the 1700s. How do we ironclad those? That's really where I want to look at too, is how do we ironclad homes that may have been here since before the signing of the Declaration of Independence, something like that.
That's not in the, that's not
And
part
that's
of
not
it.
here, yeah.
No.
That's not really relevant, so thank
Councilor
you.
Grace would like to.
How many houses from the 1600s and 1700s are left standing? Do you know approximately?
Are what?
Are left standing?
Are left standing?
You know, houses like the Babson Owl House, the Ellery House, the Riggs House, that sort of thing.
Right. There are 15 from the 1600s, 140, I think, from the 1700s,
and about 970 from the 1800s. So it's hovering around 1100 that were built in the first three centuries.
Do you feel that the most significant ones that you would seek to at least delay demolition would be the ones from the 1600s and 1700s, the oldest examples of architecture in this community?
Well, you know, the short answer is yes, but then it's not true. The commission has to assess house by house because it could be in terrible disrepair because it was built in 1600,
Right.
not maintained or.
Right, but written in the ordinance is a provision that when they go in and look at it and say, you know, this can't be saved, it's not something that's going to stretch out for 12 months. It's a couple of weeks.
That's true.
Okay, and just, I don't know, this isn't necessarily the question, although I appreciate the passion that people have for Joe Garland's house. I think that is more of an emotional attachment because, as Councilor Groh pointed out, most of the house is an original to the 1800s. So I don't think it's a good example to be using for preservation because the current owner has done everything the right way to preserve what can be preserved. So in that particular instance, they would not be denied a demolition permit because it was proven that architecturally or structurally it's not sound anymore.
Let's try to stay away from specific examples.
But there is that possibility. And I would say that the Cuthberts, this whole transaction with...
I don't think we need to get into specific examples here. It's not, doesn't give us any guidance on the ordinance itself.
What's that?
Councilor Kimberly.
Is there a way to begin making a list of houses that are notable, that you would deem notable, so that people would know ahead of time?
No, that's not the work of the commission. We would have to go to every house and assess it, and we're just volunteers. We meet once a month, and we have a lot of other things. So that's not what our task is. That's a big task. And, you know, we're hoping this ordinance is just one important house a year that we have to devote a lot of time to.
But you're not qualified to make a determination on whether a house should be torn down or not, as far as structural integrity goes. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have the qualifications or the expertise on the board to decide whether structurally a house should remain standing or be torn down.
That's right, and then there's that, and so we would like to see, you know, what the owner found out. I mean, there's so many things to consider.
Councilor Nolan.
One thing you had just said, you are a volunteer board that meets once a month, but this criteria would be able to give an answer in 15 days.
Mm-hmm. We would have a special meeting.
All right, so if there was 3 or 4 in front of you in a month's time, you guys would figure that out and make sure you had a quorum.
I'm sorry.
So basically, if there was multiple applicants in front of you at the same time, or within...
The data has shown that we wouldn't, but if we did, then absolutely. We would meet as often as we needed to meet. Yeah, that's what we're tasked to do.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay. Back to discussion. I do have some amendments.
Let me just add to discussion. I'm having a hard time understanding how we're going to be able to figure out if a home has historic significance or not. And I'm not sure that who's to say, yes, I respect the volunteers here, but are they the ones that are going to be able to determine if a home has some historic value to the community or not?
Well, in the ordinance, it says it's important association with one or more historical persons or events, or with the broad architectural, cultural, political, economic, or social history of the city. And then B is historical or architectural importance in terms of period, style, method of building, construction, or association with a recognized architect or builder. So it doesn't have to necessarily even have an important person or have been played an important role. It could be just the architecture of the building. So they do have some of it laid out here. So you're never going to get, you know, this is going to be absolutely a subjective. There's no question. And we have to trust that the Historical Commission will make sound decisions. So I would like to make an amendment, an initial amendment. Oh, and I do not, Grace is going to actually put these on screen, so no one second the amendment until the clerk has typed in the amendment. And this first amendment is about the public hearings. I think having 2 public hearings is a little bit egregious. We'll have to adjust some other time frames in here, but I think that only 1 public hearing would be necessary. It's section 5-72. And I'd like to delete 7 in its entirety, 8 and 9 in their entirety. And this would alleviate the Historical Commission from having to have a public hearing. I will address this in another amendment to give the Historical Commission the type of time they need.
So the amendment to the main motion is to delete section 5-72 procedure, subsection 7, 8, and 9.
Correct.
Just give us a second to read those real quick. So.
It's on the screen. There is a logic to this. It's not taking away anything. There is a logic to this.
Seven, 8, 9 are being deleted.
I'm going to read them.
We have a replacement amendment,
No, this is a deletion.
right? So that's, yeah. And we got that, so can we second?
I made the motion.
Just a second for discussion? Yeah, second. Is that all right? Oh, you can take it. Oh, really?
Seconded by
Councilor Grow.
Motion made by Councilor Gross, seconded by Councilor Grace. Battled it out. So I'm deleting the public hearings, or I made an amendment that proposes to delete the section on the commission having a public hearing, and it reads, what is being deleted is if the commission recommends the building is a significant building, it shall hold a public hearing to recommend to the city council that the building is preferably preserved within 30 days following the initial recommendation. Delete. Within 5 business days of the initial recommendation, the commission shall notify the community development director and the building commissioner in writing of the date of the public hearing. B, the community development director shall send notice of the public hearing to the applicant and abutting property owners and shall publish the public notice of time, place, and purpose of the hearing at least 7 days prior to the scheduled date of the hearing. Delete 8. Oh, I guess, yes, there is some additions too. Delete 8. After the close of the public hearing, the commission shall vote to recommend to the city council whether the building is preferably preserved. Delete 9. The commission shall notify the community development director and building commissioner of its recommendation within 5 business days of the public hearing. Then in 5-7 to 10, in the first sentence, delete preferably preserved. and change that to a significant building. And add a section A, 10A. Here, you want to see it? Can you see mine?
If you, with your deletions, you're going to take the community development director completely out of this? They'll have no, okay.
It's not, just not in this section, it's 572.
Just so we're clear on the process, everyone's following on, we're adding to your original amendment.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Can this be part of the same amendment? All right, I'm amending the amendment. Do I need a second on that?
Second.
Not yet. Oh, we have to have it up. Just asking. So add, so change it from preferably preserved to significant building. Because that sort of, it flows with what the intent is. Significant building is a significant building, yep. Right, oh, yeah. Yep, I have it in mind, but.
It's here.
Yep. Yep.
You said it.
All right, so then add, the city clerk shall send notice of the public hearing to the applicant and abutting property owners and shall publish the public notice of the time, place, and purpose of the hearing at least 7 days prior to the scheduled date of the hearing. So that's the city council public hearing. And further down in section 12, can I keep on the same amendment or no? All right, but we'll stop there because the next one is completely separate.
You want a second on your amendment to the amendment?
Let's get it up there first. Can you see mine?
I don't know, Willie.
Okay, now we can have a second. Everybody see it?
Frank, it's your
Oh,
turn.
so moved.
Second.
All right, motion made by Councilor Gross, seconded by Councilor Majota. Okay, discussion. Trying to get it up on screen correctly.
Okay. 7 days is not adequate to put things through the mail, Tony. It just doesn't work.
No, it's not in the mail. It has to be advertised 7 days.
Advertising. What about notifying abutters?
Well, we are in this, we're notifying abutters.
In a public hearing, do they have to mail notifications to abutters?
Public notice. Yes, we would, right? That's what this says. We would mail something to the abutters. Yes.
And how many days ahead would that?
This is a notice of the public hearing has to be in 7 days prior to the public hearing. So it goes through, the process has started much earlier.
So typically, the city clerk's office will send a photocopy of the legal notice to the abutters rather than sending a notice of the public hearing. Our notice that we send out includes a copy of the legal notice, just as an
And how many
FYI.
days ahead is that done, Grace?
Well, it depends on what the ordinance requires. But for, I think the only ordinance that we have where we would be notifying abutters 7 days in advance of the public hearing would be poll petitions, but we usually advertise those sooner than 7 days.
Thank you. And I have another question. By omitting 7, 8, and 9, does that put the decision on the city council?
Decision's already on the city council.
Well, before it seemed to
No.
be at the commission.
No, they make a recommendation. They only make a recommendation to the city
Okay.
council. City
All right.
council's always, has made the decision. Well, it seemed that we didn't need two public hearings. It's for them, for us, just,
In number 11, do you change preferably preserve to significant building again?
number 11, I didn't do anything.
Well, it's,
We're not
Okay.
there, we're
All right.
talking about,
That's
we were
fine.
just in 57210.
So just so I'm clear, can I ask you, so nothing, there effectively is no difference in the commission reviewing the application and deliberating on the facts of the matter. It's just not in the public hearing process. They still have the opportunity to make the recommendations and submit that through the community development director as if they had had a public hearing. So they have all the deliberative.
We're going to go back to that.
Right, but they continue to have their own deliberative process.
Absolutely, and we'll go back to that. So, any more questions on the amendment to the amendment?
You should vote this
We
one.
need to vote this one, so voting for the amendment to the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. Now, on the main amendment, and that's the deletion. Questions, comments? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. To answer your question on 11, the city council does decide whether it's a preferably preserved building. So that is correct there.
Okay.
They determine whether it's a
Now,
significant building.
I have another amendment. And
Well, he changed the
this is
language.
housekeeping.
In 10, so I didn't know. The language is changed in 10. You don't want to keep it
Right, because
consistent.
that's from the commission.
Okay.
11 is city council.
Thank you.
So in section 5-7212, we have a little cleanup on this. And add right after demolition or determination, add without first withdrawing application of a demolition permit. Add without first withdrawing the application. You can see it written. Might be easier to read it. And I so move, but we're waiting on a second. Motion made by Councilor Gross, seconded by Councilor Memard.
Can you explain?
Yes, because it says, upon determination of the city council that a building is preferably preserved, no building permit for new construction or alterations to the subject building shall be issued for a period of 12 months from the date of the determination. So that means, let's say they change their mind and they want to go apply to just do a renovation and an addition. This wouldn't allow it. So it just says that they have to first withdraw their application for a demolition permit.
Question?
Yep.
So, assuming this goes through the way it's written, that effectively deletes the demolition permit as applied for. If they decide not to do any modifications or alterations, they would then would they have to reapply for a demolition permit and then go through the process again?
No, if they've applied for a demolition permit, then they say, well, wait a minute. They are thinking it through, and they say, well, maybe, might have had some influence, and maybe we can do something different, and they want to apply for the building permits to do that. They have to withdraw.
It won't be delayed.
They have to withdraw their demolition delay permit. This allows them to then go for the permit. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to even go for those permits. So we don't want to prohibit them from trying to do that change. but we want to inform them that they need to remove their application. Counselor Page.
You might not, I don't see the building inspector here. Building permits are generally, the charge for a building permit is generally based upon the cost of the renovation, construction, whatever it is. A demolition permit must have a charge. I don't know what that is, but now you're paying for a permit, demolition, oh my, can't do that. Now we're going forward with a different permit. There's two costs involved here.
Right, well, that's it. That's the cost of doing business.
The
Name-
cost of the ordinance.
No, that's, they would have to do that anyway. Otherwise, they
No,
wouldn't be able to.
If
otherwise
I
they
pull
would-
a demolition permit without this in hand, I'm done. I make my own
Unless,
decision.
but if you want to, but this says that you cannot pull any other permits while you have that demolition permit on there. That's what this language says. So I'm trying to correct that.
I understand.
So if somebody
But if I
changes
pull
their
a demolition
mind-
permit and I
Except- wait a
get
minute.
delayed,
If somebody changes their mind midstream, they would assume those costs no matter what.
oh, yeah, if they chose to change.
Yeah, this is completely about their choice. This is, we're not telling them, we're giving them an avenue.
No,
here.
if you're delayed, if you pull a demolition permit and then you are delayed, that's not your choice. That's because of an ordinance that's
Correct.
been put, right.
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, a lot of things are by ordinance that affects building. I think, in fact, everything. Counselor Grow.
So, just so that, again, following along, if they decide they don't want to do a renovation, that they're intent on tearing down the building, this ordinance remains a 12-month delay, as it is.
As it is.
Is there any?
Yes, as it is.
As it is. Is there any appetite to reduce the period of time that people would have to wait? Say to 6 months?
Well,
amendments?
that's not in this amendment.
I
If you want to
understand.
make a different amendment, that's a.
I'm just trying to make sure, I don't want to get ahead of your.
That's a different amendment. We're just talking about this amendment. Can we just please stay on task? Any more discussion on this amendment? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 9-0. Just because this kind of makes it a little clearer, or add some, I would like to make an amendment to section 5-72, 5.
Going backwards here.
Yep. Because I wanted to get the big one.
Yeah,
This
no,
is-
it's
this is
fair.
addressing it.
No, no.
So I
You
think.
do you.
I think by eliminating the, just give a little rationale here, by eliminating the public hearing, I think we can give more time for the Historic Commission to deliberate over this. So what I've changed here is, what I'm suggesting as an amendment is, upon receipt of the application, the commission shall delete an initial, add a recommendation, within delete 15, add 30 days, whether the building is a significant building at its regularly scheduled or special meeting, add that will include public comment on the affected property. And I so move.
Second.
Oh, wait a minute, I have more on this. Sorry. I also have in A, delete initial. Yep. Nobody seconded it yet. Initial.
I can't.
Subsection A, delete initial.
the recommendation shall be made by a simple majority of a quorum.
Correct.
Period.
Correct. Thank you. Counselor Grow.
Okay, two questions. First off, then, do we want to change 15 days in B to 30 days? Because.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
But then more to the point, and I'm sorry for asking this question, but if we're deleting the requirement to have a public hearing in one stroke, but we're requiring public comment in another, isn't that sort of counterproductive?
Public hearings have a whole set of rules that are different as far as timeframes.
Yeah, I get. I mean, I'm with you, but
I mean,
what I don't understand
it could just be left to the chairperson of the committee to open it up for public comment.
Yeah, because that's the whole point about public notice, is to say we're having something that you can have.
But they're not
public
going to
comment.
have a public notice.
That's my question of why we're adding that as a allowance.
Just to make it clear to future.
Can we say that can include public comment? I just.
It always is can or may.
Yeah.
I know, that was purposeful.
Well, okay.
But if, you don't have to vote for that.
I know, but you don't throw the baby out of the.
No, you can always make, amend to take that piece out. Amend the amendment. If you find that I just wanted to make sure that there was some forum.
I would just say may instead of will, and that gives the ability for the chair to make that decision.
Okay, so it's yeah, change it. Yeah.
We're back at 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
Shall becomes may.
Yeah, then you have the opportunity to have that comment.
And then on B, that's kind of a different.
No, you said you're going to have to do something within 30 days, and here you're telling them they have 15.
So yeah, leave it, change that one to 30 also. Yep. Opens it up. Any other comments on the amendment?
No, it's fine.
Anybody want to second it now?
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Gross, seconded by Councilor Memard. More discussion? We need to read the whole thing again?
You're just doing the amendment.
Right.
So, no.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Yep. Done with my amendments.
Okay.
So.
I'd like to, I'm not exactly sure where this goes, so I'm going to just put it out there. I'm still troubled by the duration of the ordinance, and I would like to move that we make the process 9 months instead of 12. I think that.
Specify
Wait a
what
minute,
paragraph
don't
that
second.
is.
No second. It is in the definition preferably preserved. It is in.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Also, the 12-month for.
It's also in number 5-7212. Okay, so definition first.
Do I need to remake the motion, or? Okay, so I move to amend the definition of preferably preserved to strike 12-month and insert 9-month.
Okay, I'll entertain a second.
Second.
All right, motion made by Counselor Grow, seconded by Counselor Nolan. Discussion.
Again, I think that with the infrequency at which this comes up, the 9 months is probably 3 months longer than it really should be. But I think a year extends it too long. I think that given the fact that we don't have any other authority other than delay, 9 months is substantially enough time to do the research that needs to get done to get an owner on board or not.
Councilor Benson.
Yeah, thank you. I can understand that rationale, but looking at the packet that was received to us by Susan, thank you, Susan, looking at the effectiveness in most communities doing 12 months, and then there are several communities that are now gone to 18 months, and those that 12 changed from 6 to 12 months to increase effectiveness. So I'm just to play to look at the other side here, do you think that may not be based on every other community? It seems like 12 months is standard. My question to that is, do you think going down to 9 months, it may not really be effective based on what other communities have done by looking at 6 months and now they're going to 12 months? It seems to me, my question to you is, do you think it could lessen the effectiveness of this ordinance by going down from 12 to 9?
Go ahead.
I guess I would answer that by saying again that the infrequency at which this occurs means that we're not overburdening the commission with the ability to get the information that they need to start the process. And frankly, at that point, we don't know how long a potential purchaser or owner of a building is willing to sit on their hands doing nothing while, if they're committed to the idea of demolishing the building, they would be in their best interest to cooperate with the commission and get that process started and done sooner than later. Penalizing them with extra time doesn't get the process done any faster, I think. And I think that if I'm an owner and if I have a 9-month delay ahead of me, but I know that if I cooperate with the commission and do what they need to do to get their documentation and research done so that they're satisfied, I can get my permit in 4 months or 3 months. So there's an incentive, I think, to work with the commission regardless of how long we make the process. I think we're just making an overly long process, and that's just my opinion based on my substantial years as a conservationist. I'm being facetious.
Yeah, I appreciate just seeing how other communities have done this. It's just something to consider.
I think also you need to take into consideration particularly in your ward, because there's many of these homes that are in your ward, the financial situations of the owners of today, which are many are generational, and whether or not they need to have a quick sale.
No, I think it's fair. I'm just playing because the information was provided to us. I actually think I tend to agree that 6. I think actually if I was to go, I'd go 6 months. But just looking at how other communities have done this, that have changed from 6 to 12 to increase effectiveness, and I appreciate this data being provided. But also Gloucester is, as we know, Gloucester is very unique. So, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Councilor Grace.
I think 9 months is a good compromise, and ordinances aren't written in stone. If down the road 9 months proves to not be long enough, then it can be revisited.
Moved and seconded. This is on the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
We do need to add a second one for that.
5-7 to 12.
Move to 5-7 to 12, sorry. To move to strike a period of 12 months and insert period of 9 months from the date of the determination. And I so move.
Gotta wait till it's up on the screen.
You wait. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm looking at what? Can't see the screen from here.
Read the packet. It says
I
right
got it
there.
here.
Read the,
I don't read red.
We're letting Grace, you know, do this in an open, you know, this is how things are done in the open.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay, on the amendment. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. Are there any more amendments?
Counselor, I guess it's not an amendment, more of a question. I want to know how to make this potentially an amendment. That's why I'm here. So I guess if there was going to be an amendment where I understand the 9-month delay now, where if I own the home and I want to sell it, the new owner should wait 9 months to demolition it. But if I'm a homeowner and I've lived in the home for, you know, multiple years, and the cost of things are breaking down, things are all going apart, why do I have to wait the 9 months if I've been in the home for 5 years and renovation is not going to help? Like, in demolition is the answer. Is there a way to add an amendment, I don't know where, to be like, if you lived in the home for so many years, you can sort of bypass this, because why wait the additional 9 months for?
I hear you, but I think that is the process of why the Historical Commission, first off, gets the plea and hears all the circumstances. That's why we can't really, you know, we can't go specific by specific, and then it comes to us, and if someone is making a strong case, then the city council can issue that permit. It will be, you know, it will be a few, you know, at least 2 months later, but that's when, you know, so it's like I said earlier, it's somewhat subjective, and we have to trust in the Historical Commission to be able to make those kind of judgments. I don't know if we can go about make an exception for generational homes.
I understand the ordinance. I understand why we're trying to preserve certain part. If I just lived in a home for 10 years and it's just falling apart, you know, as you know, I'm the homeowner. Like, it's my property. I lived here. I wasn't buying this home 10 years ago to demolish it. Today, I bought it because I wanted to do what I could do to do something with it. It's just I can't. Financially, it does not make sense for me to keep this home the way it is, and that's why I understand. That's the part that's frustrating for me, is if I lived in the home for multiple years or generational, and I can't afford it anymore, and it's just cheaper for me to tear it down to build it because it makes sense for what's best for me and my family. Now, I could potentially be delayed 9 months, but I understand if I'm the homeowner and I sell it to you, you should wait the 9 months because you should wait, you know, you're buying the historic home, you should wait 9 months to do whatever you want if I sell it.
Can I offer a suggestion on this? And that is part of what this does is gives the owner, regardless of how long they've owned it, the opportunity to go to the commission and say, here, I understand my house is built in 1789, but here are the problems with it, and here is why it is a financial burden to me to maintain it, and here is why I can't afford to not tear it down. I would prefer to preserve whatever you need to preserve or whatever we could do in terms of documenting that preservation, and make the case to the commission at that point that you would be happy to offer them the opportunity to photograph the building, do all the things that you need to do to document it and shorten that period of time. The 9 month or the 6 month or the 12 month doesn't have to go to the full distance. It only needs to go as far as satisfying the commission in terms of preservation or documentation, or that you've made the case that, you know, as in the Garland house, the owner's making the case that it was so poorly maintained that, you know, regardless of how much they spent on it, there was nothing to save. So I understand your concern that people might feel trapped, but I think that this allows them the opportunity to say, hey, I love my house, but it's falling apart, and nothing that you say right now is going to make me not want to tear it down and do something better for my family.
No, I just, if they, there again, there's so many what ifs. If they're unable to take photos of inside the house, or there's multiple layers of what can happen. We all live busy lives, and, you know, I just would hate for the homeowner to have more financial burden for whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Everything's very expensive nowadays, you know, and I can't speak, you know, it just, I don't know, I'm just, that's the part that bothers me. If I'm the homeowner for multiple years, I have to go through more additional steps. But that's, I understand it all,
Exactly,
and
it's exactly what this does.
I'm just, that's
To
my
make that
opinion on it.
argument, go on to know, oh, yes, for it.
So, you all set? Yeah.
I got nothing else. I just wanted to make my opinion that, like, I
Yep.
have concern for those people who live in the homes for a long period of time, and I never want to put anyone in more additional financial burden than I want to.
Thank you. Councilor Page.
Section 5.7 for administration. I believe we eliminated 7B. So does administration still hold the community development director is authorized to determine reasonable fees necessary to cover the costs? Yes. That remains, and does that cost get passed on to the property owner? And that's very vague. It's just up to the community development director what he feels the cost has been.
Then it comes before city council for approval.
The fee as well.
Whatever they determine it costs them to process this.
So that's a cost of the ordinance. And we don't have any real gauge on that.
Microphone.
It depends on the scope of the project and how much the fee will be.
Right, as we are here, we have no gauge on if that's $100 or $50,000.
Those fees will come before us
Right,
to approve.
but we don't know
So-
today what the cost
No,
of
we
this
do
is.
not. We just know that they will be coming before us.
Right, just make a note, thank you.
So to clarify, if I may clarify, we're going to approve
It's-
whatever fee.
it's-
Yeah, so just so.
Shall
I,
submit the
yep.
same to city council for approval pursuant to section
'Cause they're determined.
2-28.
Yeah, because one could be, as Councilor Nolan said, one could be very cheap, and then another one could be a lot more expensive to process, so.
Anybody else? I would just like to make one other addition. I don't know if this is an amendment that's necessary or not, but we need to renumber from 5-726.
Does that just not naturally occur?
I don't know.
Doesn't need to be a motion. We
Okay.
can just, when we're typing it, I'll make a note
Okay. All right. That was it.
if this passes.
Councilor Benson, we're going to vote here.
Well, hold on. Well, let me, geez.
While he's out, I was going to make a motion to add an amendment that Gloucester imposes a architectural and aesthetic review of all construction in the city.
Denied.
Go for it. Especially on Middle Street.
Also, Madam Clerk, can you scroll up to Tony's First Amendment, please? You did change some wording, and then if you look down, I don't know if we changed the wording in all of the other, I think, yeah, significant building. I do see that another time. I'm not sure if we changed. We did all of them? Okay.
We voted those. Seconded it, by
I'm
the
just
way.
trying to delay time for Councilor Benson.
Cut across. Getting his steps in.
It's always suggested if people have amendments to write them up in advance. It's so much easier to then message, not message,
If
but
you didn't want me to go to
communicate
the
them.
bathroom, could have got the chief to just put me back to the chair.
All right. Any more discussion, amendments? Okay. So. On. An amendment in the preferably preserved description from 12 months to 9 months. And we made a, in section 5-72, number 5, we changed that the commission shall make a recommendation within 30 days, not 15, and deleted an initial recommendation, just make it to a straight recommendation. And then we added building is a significant building at its next regularly scheduled or special, then added that may include public comment on the affected property. And then in 752 5B, we changed A. Oh, we deleted initial to go to a straight recommendation. Then in section B, we changed 15 days to 30 days. And then we eliminated sections 7 through 9, the public hearing section for the Historic Commission. And then in section 572 10, we changed that a building is preferably preserved to a building is a significant building. And then we added a section A under that section 10. The city clerk shall send notice of the public hearing to the applicant and abutting property owners and shall publish the public notice in the time, place, and purpose of the hearing at least 7 days prior to the scheduled date of the hearing. And then we had section 5-7 to 12. We have changed the a permit will be issued for a period of 12 months to 9 months. And then we also added language at the end of that that says, without first withdrawing an application for a demolition permit, returning to whether you could do an alteration or addition permit. And that, oh, we're at the main motion. It's been made and seconded, correct? Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0.
You didn't even give me a chance to vote. Discussion, nothing.
I said discussion.
Yeah, and you ran right into the vote.
I looked right over at you.
Did I have something to say?
I looked right over at you.
Let's back up.
Fine. Go ahead.
Sorry, my reflexes are slow at this time of night.
What? 7:45 or
Yep,
8:30?
quar-
8:30?
Yeah, 8:30, past my bed. I would prefer to see some kind of deed restrictions. I saw Barbara Lambert's historic preservation.
That's not in this ordinance, though. You may prefer that, but we're discussing this ordinance. Sorry.
I
but it's my
understand.
job to
I'd
keep-
prefer to have something like a historic preservation or a deed restriction versus the sweeping ordinance. I think with those types of actions, property owners are engaged at that point. This ordinance does not engage these property owners at all. It wasn't strongly enough stated, I guess, on the last meeting. I had made a recommendation that the property owners, the 1,100 property owners, be notified. That wasn't even taken seriously.
Well, it was put up on the website.
No, they weren't notified.
No,
In
they
writing,
were not.
by mail. All right.
We're talking about the motion now, please.
The main motion of the amendments.
We're all done with the
Motion as
amendments.
amended.
We haven't voted on the main motion.
Oh, we have, but we'll
We have.
re-vote it.
Yeah.
I had a comment too. It went-
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see
You
it.
know, the listing of, in the city, when they state 1900, we know that's inaccurate due to some kind of documentation that, I don't know if things were lost or there was some fire, but there's a default in our database here that a lot of houses are listed as 1900. And
Believe
at
that
that point,
The Macris list.
There
Correct.
are inconsistencies and inaccuracies in all of these. So in other words, when a demolition permit is pulled, at that point is when the Historic Commission's actually going to look at a property and determine its accurate building date. The date is only the first trigger, and then at that point, you have to decide whether this is significant or preservable or whatever. And once you get an ordinance on the books, and Marjorie mentioned this, the amendments come forward. So we started 1899, and in my opinion on that is because taking 1900 would have included too many houses. But once we get this ordinance, does it get amended? I know you've actually proposed more of an 18-month delay. So now, we've cut that down to 9. Does this come back next year for more amendments? It just gets more onerous.
Yes, anything's possible, yes.
Sorry?
Yes, if a
well, I
if
know
a
it.
counselor puts it forward, then yes.
Right.
That's the way it all works.
I understand how it works. The goalposts move, and I think that we shouldn't be doing this ordinance. I don't believe that it's in the best interest of the property owners. The property owners are completely left out here. We had someone tonight speak about his property, how it's going to be affected, what he's gone through, and that's probably the only demolition we may see this year. It just seems very, there's a lot of burdens on these homeowners today, and this places another regulatory burden on people. I think that the best case scenario is some kind of deed restriction with the property owner to work with them, not against them, not without them. None of this, I'm sure people looking at the city website to see what's going on today. They don't until they're caught in this financial burden of assessments and time, and it's, I don't think this is really a good direction to go in.
Councilor Grace.
Thank you. This has been going on for the better part of 2 years. There's been ample opportunity for homeowners to come here and speak, to send letters, to talk to us personally, whatever. So, I think there's been ample opportunity for people to come forward. I think that the primary reason for this ordinance is to protect the history of the community. These houses are tangible parts of our history. And once they're gone, they're gone. And there are many instances, I would believe, that someone might not even know the history of their house. So if somebody says, hey, wait a minute, let's talk about this, it gives them pause, and they might learn something that they didn't know, and it might change their mind and say, yes, I understand why this is worth saving. At no point in time will this ever prevent somebody from demolishing a house if that is what they so choose to do. It's just asking for a pause. It's been lessened to 9 months as a compromise, which again, that can be revisited as any ordinance can that is written. Any of the 9,000 of them can be revisited at any time. That's not unusual. The homeowners have had multiple opportunities to talk to the city council, to send letters, to come here and speak. This has been going on for almost 2 years now. And once the history is gone, it's gone. We hear over and over and over in this community how we need to protect the community, protect our history, protect our legacy. Some of these old houses are our legacy, and I believe they need to be protected.
I do look at Middle Street, and Middle
Counselor-
Street looks like an
Councilor
assault.
Page, Councilor Grow, next.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I just wanted to make a note and address something you said about deed restrictions, in which are effectively the polar opposite of a demolition permit. when someone wants a deed restriction to prevent destruction of the property, they're doing so voluntarily. They're asking for this to be preserved. That, they wouldn't be coming for a demolition permit. So it's not the same kettle of fish at all. Because if you're seeking a deed restriction to permanently preserve your property, as we're going to be seeing in a couple of weeks, that's because the owner of the property does not want to see this ever to be demolished. So they wouldn't be dealing with a demolition issue at all. They're two separate, completely separate.
Right, but I think what Barbara Lambert is doing with that property is protecting it and preserving it. That's her right.
As is her right.
That is her right. I respect that. Whatever she does with it, of course, we will note that is coming off the tax rolls when that happens. She's selling that to the Historic Society, which then is a nonprofit, so we lose the tax.
Talking about the Riggs House.
This isn't to do with, to all due respect, this isn't to do with the ordinance, and I think
Well-
we could be in violation of open meeting law, so I want to be a little careful there.
The Riggs House
Attorney
is
Benson, thank you.
The Riggs
No,
House
I'm
is
just
a
saying,
gem.
because it's not, we're not,
all right.
that's not, this
Okay,
specific
okay,
thing is not on the
okay.
agenda.
You're right. You're right, Dylan.
Comments on the ordinance only.
Right, I do look at Middle Street, and it's a historic
But
district.
Middle Street is not in front of us. That's a
Well, it's a historic district, so it does have some relevance here. Those houses, we have an architectural assault on Middle Street, so it just, some of this just doesn't line up for me, that there's actual protection of a district that doesn't seem to
We
work.
understand that you're not happy with this ordinance. Let's make that clear.
Oh, yeah.
You
I'm
vote no.
not very articulate, but
Okay.
clear.
So, any more discussion?
No, but the Riggs House is amazing.
Okay, no more of that.
No more. I will just say, on this actual ordinance, I think, I will say, I do have troubles with it being, it's very subjective, as you said, it's arbitrary who's going to be able to like note if a building is historic or not, but I also understand the importance of preserving history. I was reminded recently, I was a few months ago down in Wethersfield, Connecticut, and they were talking, we were a bunch of museums talking about the buildings that have been destroyed across the country that had very historic significance. And I think when we're seeing buildings being destroyed that do have great historic significance to the city, we are destroying our history, our local history. We're destroying American history. So if this can preserve our history locally and our nation's history, I'm all for it. Again, I do have this concern of like who's going to really quantify what's a historic building or not, and I made that point earlier. So thank you.
What else? Okay, we're going to revote.
Can we do a
Everybody
roll
ready?
call, just to make sure that we're all clear, just to be
Sure.
safe? Thank you.
On the motion as amended.
Okay, Counselor Grow.
Aye.
Counselor Kimberly.
Aye.
Counselor Majota.
Yes.
Counselor Memhard.
Aye.
Counselor Nolan.
Aye.
Counselor Page.
No.
Counselor Benson.
Aye.
Counselor Grace.
Aye.
Counselor Gross.
Aye.
Vote is 8 in favor, 1 opposed. The motion passes.
Thank you. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
For council vote, City Council proclamation designating the city of Gloucester as a Purple Heart community.
Oh, this was requested. We recently voted to have Gloucester considered a Purple Heart community, but the Veterans Administration agent asked that we have it requires a proclamation. So, I think I need to read the proclamation. All right. Proclamation to designate Gloucester as a Purple Heart community. Whereas the city of Gloucester recognizes the tremendous sacrifices made by the members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or killed in combat while serving and defending our nation. And whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration in present use, originally established by George Washington in 1782 as the badge of military merit, and is awarded to members of the armed services who are wounded or killed in action against the enemy of the United States. And whereas the city of Gloucester has a proud tradition of military service, and generations of Gloucester residents have answered the call to serve with courage, honor, and dedication, and whereas Purple Heart recipients represent a special group of veterans whose bravery and sacrifice deserve lasting recognition and appreciation from the community they served, and whereas the city of Gloucester is committed to honoring all veterans and military personnel and recognizes the importance of preserving the memory and the sacrifices of those who have been wounded in combat, and whereas designated Gloucester as a Purple Heart community reflects the city's ongoing gratitude and respect for the Purple Heart recipients and their families. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Gloucester City Council hereby designates the city of Gloucester as a Purple Heart community and encourages all residents to honor and remember the sacrifices made by Purple Heart recipients in service to our nation. And be it further proclaimed that the city of Gloucester extends its deepest appreciation to all Purple Heart recipients connected to the Gloucester community, and reaffirms its commitment to supporting veterans and their military families. Signed by the Gloucester City Council this day,
So move.
April 26th, May 26th,
2026.
2026. And I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Gross, seconded by Councilor Grow. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 9-0. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Councilor request to the mayor.
Councilor Grow.
I've already made my request to the mayor. I do want to say I'm very disappointed in the response about painting the crosswalks for Pride and for Fiesta that were recently made by Councilor Benson and myself. I feel like, frankly, the reasoning's a bit on the thin side given the history of doing this on an annual basis, so I just want to register my discontent. That's all you can do.
Councilor Kimberly.
I have none.
Okay. Councilor Majota.
No request to the mayor.
Councilor Memard.
Just following up on the paving work that was done in much of East Gloucester and Ward 1. I'd like to thank the DPW for the lines. The lines have been painted, and there have been a lot of them. They're beautiful.
Councilor Page.
No request, thank you.
Councilor Benson.
Thank you. And earlier today, a constituent of mine came forward to talk about the dire need for sidewalk repair on Liberty Street, and they've been in disarray for many years, and I hope that those can be fixed as quickly as possible. And I also will concur with Councilor Grow my discontent with the administration's response about the crosswalks. I almost said sidewalks because it's in my head. But anyway, on crosswalks for Pride that have been painted outside City Hall for 10 years is my guess, and also to celebrate nearly 100 years of the St. Peter's Fiesta, it would be a wonderful addition to have the Portuguese flag painted and the Italian flag painted to celebrate the great history of this fiesta, which brings a lot of money into the city. And also, I'd like to just make sure where we are at on the senior tax work-off program. Hopefully, we can get that into this budget coming up. I know many other counselors are having that. And that's all I have, other requests I sent to the administration. Thank you.
Councilor Grace.
Yeah, I've been getting calls today from people in regard to different areas of the city that need to have the grass cut and some landscaping done. And I would just like to remind the listening public that the DPW has a very short amount of people that work for them, and they are working round the clock to spruce everything up for summer. So you need to have a little bit of patience when waiting for the grass to get cut in various parks and areas of the town. And I just want to reiterate what Councilor Benson said about the sidewalks on Liberty Street. It's an issue on more than just Liberty Street, and it's really something for the safety of our community and our elders that they need to be fixed. And then on top of that, I'd like to remind people that it is a $100 fine to park on a sidewalk and to stop doing it.
Okay.
Don't feed the seagulls.
What? Yeah, that's next. It's just on the consent agenda. Now it goes to subcommittee and then comes back to us.
We'll see it on June 3rd at the P&D meeting at 6 o'clock.
Next Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, downstairs.
But thanks for coming.
Oh, you spoke anyway.
Second.
Motion to adjourn made by Councilor Benson, seconded by Councilor Majota. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Nameplates.